Why don't you talk a bit about how you got into, what you're doing now, I suppose?
Okay. So I work in the world of basically photo and video, so I do a lot of commercials, music videos, all sorts of things like that. So coming out of uni, I graduated with a first from Sheffield Hallam. I did film and media production. I got my degree in the November, and then I was like, I'll just have a few months, earn some money. I was still working at a pub at that time, and then I was like, I'll sort of try and sort of look at an industry job sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it got to March, and then COVID happened, and I was like, oh shit, I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, like everyone, I was at home, working at a pub. I was completely furloughed, not doing anything, whatever. So basically, just out of instinct, initiative, I guess, just emailed loads of different production companies, mainly in Manchester but in Liverpool as well, about doing some work for them or any experience, anything that I could get. And it is true this, whenever sort of you're cold calling or cold messaging, sending cold emails, a lot of people won't get back to you, but it's a subjective thing. If you actually watch their work and show a bit of interest in it as part of the email, rather than just creating the same paragraph and sending it to 30 companies, you've probably got more chance to get back to you. So I had a few that got back to me that were like, oh, we've not got anything, but we appreciate that you've shown an interest and things like that. And it's like, if we ever do, we'll get in touch. And then in about, I think it was when I'd sort of gone back to work at the pub in July, a company got back in touch with me and basically said, oh, we've got the shoot in a couple of weeks, would you like to come on it? It's like a runner sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So, of course, dead excited I did. And then that was it. It was outside in Manchester, and it was for, funny coincidence actually, it was for Ed Harvey.
Nice.
The hat that I've got on today.
Yeah.
Completely by chance. It wasn't a freebie.
We're going to have to art in the video now.
But yeah, so I went on that. That was quite late night in Manchester. I didn't finish till 2 in the morning, but I really enjoyed it. And then from that, he was like, I'll get in touch with you if I've got any more, shoots available for you.
And that was for free?
Then, yeah. So, there is really a big thing that says, don't work for free. And I stand by that you shouldn't really, if you can get a bit of experience, but also you've got another income and stuff like that, that's all right. So the situation, obviously, that I had was that I'd been furloughed, so I'd saved up some money, and then I'd gone back to my pub job, but not as much, so, but I still did have some shifts coming in. But that meant that I could sort of do, go into that, but also have, a backing where I was like, oh, I can sort of afford to, do a bit of free work. It's, like I say, it's really not, looking back on it, I don't think you should work for free for anyone, really. Maybe a few times, but I probably for quite a while, certainly a few months, did a lot of free interning bits. And then eventually, I think it got to about the Christmas that year. So it had been 4 months, I hadn't been shooting every week with them in that stage. I reckon I've done 10, 12 shoots, something like that. He just turned around one day and was like, oh, to be fair, we probably need to start paying you for shoots now. Okay. And then just paid me 50 quid my first shoot. And then it's just literally snowballed since then. So that was December 2021. I worked with one company, which is that company from December was my first paid shoot. And then by September, I'd still just been working with them, but equally for me, that was getting good experience on set, learning about equipment, things like that. And then I was like, oh, actually, I should probably start branching out even more. But then, rather than have cold emails and just be university graduate, I had a bit of experience and a name of a company behind me where I was like, oh, I've got experience with these now. So then I messaged a few other companies who, as a result, got back to me. So one turned into 2 by the September. Mm-hmm. And then after Christmas, 2 had turned into 4. And now it's probably, that was Christmas, Christmas had just gone. And now it's probably closer to 12, 15 different people I've worked for so far.
And are they agencies or are they individual clients?
So it completely varies. So I work for a couple of production companies who are, they're groups of people, but also some individuals as well. So, for example, some individual videographers or photographers. A good example is Matchbox Productions, who basically is, you know, on the video side, like a one-man crew.
Yeah.
So sometimes they need someone with technical knowledge to come and support them, so that's why,
Okay.
you know, I've done that sort of thing before. But yeah, certainly there's a lot of cases where you can just, you know, so say for example you're doing camera assistant, like it can just be you and one other person.
Yeah.
But then if you do a good job for them, they might be like, oh no, another photographer or another cameraman, like, you know, they'll probably use you, I'll pass your number on. It's basically...
Okay.
That's interesting. I wonder if we could talk about like when you're you know, you work in a job and
Yeah.
from that you're likely to get recommended if you perform well.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this and you're maybe feel like, you know, someone's in a similar position to you were maybe in the start of lockdown,
Yeah.
what could they do that you've learned to be a good person to have with on shoot that means that you're likely to get recommended
Yeah,
again?
I think a big thing is to be proactive, like, and it's again, no real offence, like, production assistants I've worked with in the past. I've worked with a load of great ones, but just occasionally on a couple of different shoots, like, you know, some people seem less interested, things like that. I'd say a big thing is to be very proactive when you're there, like, always ask about things, ask about techniques, show an interest, you know, work hard on the day. If you want to be there, like, you know, try and be a part of it. But I think what can very easily happen sometimes for production assistants is they can just sort of get a bit lost in the background sometimes, where like they're just there and then like they get forgotten about because they've not really been proactive and, oh, can I help you with this, or, you know, things like that. And then it's like, oh, I completely forgot that they were there. But other ones, like I say, proactive, like showing interest and stuff like that you want to use again. It's funny, it's something that's happened a couple of times is that, like, I've had a production assistant on for like a day, and then maybe a day, you know, the next shoot that they're on, there'll be other production assistants, and then like they'll tell them what to do, sort of thing. And it's like not really the case, you know, like everyone's learning here, you know, like even myself, like I still learn like every day on the job, like completely and utterly. But I think, and yeah, another thing with it as well is like phones, like see people just sort of stood there sometimes just on the phone. It's like
The way
people
it reads.
notice. People notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do.
Like
It's the
if
same
you're there
with
and
us as well.
if you're there and it's what you want to be in getting into and it's what you're interested about,
Why you only
watch
film?
it. Like why, you know? Do you know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with checking your phone every now and then. No one's gonna, you know, shoot you for that. But just, you know, really like make sure that people can see that you're there and it's what you want to do. I think another thing as well is that sometimes people can be a bit pushy in terms of like getting your social media, or like at the end of the shoot they'll like go to everyone, like, oh, can I have your social media, you know?
Yeah.
Like it happens quite naturally, like it flows quite naturally, like but it's like, but what I mean, sorry, is it flows quite naturally when you get to knowing people and your connections and your network's growing bigger and bigger. It just takes time and you have to be a bit patient with it. It does take time, like, for an industry to get into, and you know, and it certainly is a competitive one as well. But definitely, like, getting up to speed with technical competence is important.
Yeah.
Knowing what you want to do as well is important, because there's a lot of production assistants that come on set and they're like, oh, you know, like I like being around this, but I'm not sure what I want to do. Like, you know, you need to ensure that you have a bit of an idea in your head of where you see yourself going.
Yeah.
And as a result, you can specialise in what you do, you know.